This is Ollie from History Profiles, and once again I will be taking you to the 15th and 16th century Rome. This was a time of betrayal, schemers, and killers. Only the most ruthless and most cunning of men would rise to the top, and even the most pious of men were in danger of being corrupted by the power that they may wield. Micheletto Corella would be their instrument, and this is his story. Virtually nothing is known about the early life of Micheletto, and his entire childhood is shrouded in mystery, but some sources say he was born in 1470 in Spain. The first record of his is where he is said to have attended the University of Pisa, where he met Cesare Borgia, who would soon become his best friend and employer. Soon, Micheletto's best friend Cesare would become a cardinal due to the influence of his father, Pope Alexander VI. Micheletto would enter the service of not just Cesare, but his father as well. Due to the natures of the Borgias and their hold over the papacy, they no doubt put Micheletto to work. His best friend Cesare was a stone-cold killer, and we can assume that Micheletto was as well, due to their long-lasting friendship. Micheletto and the Borgias tended to stay in the shadows regarding their affairs, so we can only speculate that he was involved in nefarious activities due to his close ties with the Borgia family. Micheletto and Cesare were still both young men, whilst Cesare was cardinal, and in 1497, Cesare's brother Giovanni was assassinated under mysterious circumstances. Could Micheletto and Cesare have plotted and then killed Giovanni for Cesare's and by extension, Micheletto's personal gain? Micheletto would engage in unknown and mysterious activities that certainly wouldn't have been documented, as the Borgias would mainly work in the shadows. Cesare would stay up all night, receiving and dispatching messages, and no doubt some messages were instructions or news from Micheletto regarding how his assassinations or other jobs had gone. However, Micheletto would soon manage to rise from a lowly assassin of the church to one of the lieutenants in Cesare Borgia's army. On the 23rd of December, 1499, Micheletto would invade Forli in the name of the Catholic Church and the Pope. Forli was a city in northern Italy, and Micheletto would stay there in charge of the city to restore order and make sure the city stayed under command of the church. Micheletto wouldn't stay under the radar for long. On the night of the 18th of August 1500, he and other armed men stormed into the room of Alfonso of Aragon after killing his guards. Micheletto would wrap his hands around Alfonso's neck and strangle him to death under the order of Cesare. Micheletto's first documented political assassination was the murder of the brother-in-law of Cesare himself. Cesare would soon become the lord of Piombino, which is an Italian town in the province of Tuscany. He would soon elevate his loyal friend Micheletto to become his governor. But soon after his elevation, Cesare would dispatch him to Passaro, a city in the region of Marche. While Micheletto was on his way to Passaro, however, news would reach him about a rebellion taking place in the town of Fossobron, no doubt due to the residents opposing the rule of Cesare Borgia and his father Pope Alexander. Micheletto, under orders from Cesare, would ride to the town of Fossobron with his army. He would then go on to sack the town mercilessly, without warning, killing men, women, and children. It is recorded that he showed no remorse and had no pity for the dead or wounded. Micheletto would soon be summoned to Cesare's side once more, and the task he was asked of was one he was used to: murder. On the night of December the 31st, 1502, Vitellozzo Vitelli and Oliverotto Elfrudusi, two Italian lords, had been arrested by Cesare. This was due to a mutual distrust, but Cesare made the first move. It is said that Cesare gave Micheletto the nod, and then he one by one strangled the two lords to death. Micheletto was a trusted confidant of both the Pope and his son. He was known to the people as the Borgia's enforcer and assassin, and to that extent, they were right. In 1502, Micheletto and Cesare were at the height of their power. Micheletto had climbed the ranks. From the enforcer of the Borgia family, he had become a lieutenant and a governor, and had grown rich. However, everything would change after the death of Pope Alexander. On the 18th of August, 1503, Pope Alexander VI would die at the age of 72 in Rome. At the time of the Pope's death, Cesare had malaria and was too ill to do anything, so he entrusted his right-hand man and personal killer, Micheletto, to travel to Rome and seize the Pope's treasures before his death was publicly announced. Even if Micheletto had taken many treasures from the Pope upon his death, the Borgias and Micheletto's position were in a turbulent state, as they no longer had a leader in a serious position of power. This would be reflected due to the circumstances that happened after the Pope's death. In November 1503, Micheletto went north with several hundred horsemen to support Cesare's army, but the group were defeated in Tuscany by the army of Giampaolo Baglioni. Micheletto was then taken prisoner due to his high-ranking position and reputation. He was imprisoned in Florence and then Rome, a city which himself and the Borgias once controlled. In Rome, he was tortured and questioned. He was repeatedly asked the secrets of the Borgias. However, it is documented that he refused to reveal the many secrets he knew about them. After years of imprisonment and torture, he was liberated by Pope Julius II in 1505. Once he was a free man, he was hired as a keeper of the peace in Florence, as his skill set was still valuable. He would later move to Milan in 1507 and lived there for some time until 1508, where he was murdered under mysterious circumstances. Micheletto Corella was the personal assassin of his friend Cesare. In his life, he would rise up to become a lieutenant and governor, but whilst he held those positions of grand importance, he would still carry out political assassinations in the shadows or in the open. He was a man of action that perhaps thought he was serving the church through his deeds, but the corrupt state of the Catholic Church at the time and the Borgias in charge would lead him down a path of murder and ultimately ruin and death. The Italian-English novelist and historian Raffaele Sabatini described Micheletto as follows. Corella was a captain of foot, a soldier of fortune, who from the earliest days of Cesare's military career had followed the Duke's fortunes. His fidelity to Cesare and the implicit manner in which he executes his master's orders has earned, as is notorious, considerable hatred. So, what do you think of the Catholic Church's enforcer and assassin? Why was he so trusted by Cesare to carry out these high-risk political assassinations, and to even seize the treasures of his dead father, the Pope? Surely there is much more to this man's life that we will never know. The best facts are usually lost to history, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all next week for another history profile.